I became a broker of so many, any business on the streets. I sold water. In Mlolongo, I was carrying water and njugu. But we are doing this one with the aim of looking for anyone who has placed his phone vibaya. I had been beaten here and there. But I remember one afternoon, after I had become so prominent in Mlolongo with selling drugs and damaging people's items, I became a marked face. It was at around noontime. The sun was very hot. And these guys brought 5 liters of petrol. I remember because the bucket was just dropped beside my head. And the way it was poured from the head, they had beaten me. I'm bleeding, half unconscious. And I would hear them say, "Leta Kiberiti, bring the matchbox, bring the matchbox. Jemo, bring the matchbox." And the petrol was smelling very bad. And I knew the day has come. I remember mentioning the word, "God, forgive me." I just said it ignorantly. I am one person whom I don't want to say that I grew up in a faith-based church, which was, yes, we were Catholics when we grew up, but we were not that strict Catholics. It was just a name that was connected to the family, because it's like in Africa, every family must be connected to a religious affiliation. So that was ours. But when you look at our lives, we never got into to be religious a lot. And when I came to meet Jesus, it was in a very awkward environment. I was not born a thief, but look at the situation that is putting me. It started with just tasting a glass of alcohol. Those people who are out there using drugs, it's my prayer that you stop. It's my prayer that you find a way of stopping, because it is the life ahead is bad. In the streets, I met guys who are talking of Illuminati. And the story was so entertaining to me, because anything that brings money was my interest. And they told me, "We can go here in the river and we become rich overnight." I told them, "Let's go." And they asked me, "Are you ready to give whatever they will?" Like what? Like any family. I told them, even if they ask the whole family, I will give them. I'm more than willing. I was ready for any demand. Even if they asked for my father, my mother, by then my head was straight and determined. I will give you. My friend, we went. I never knew that the devil conducts interview. We went to 3 homes, Illuminati homes. And we went there, and there's a table there, receptionist, where you are interviewed for some basic things. But there was more than just asking for basic things. And I was denied from going to the next room. My colleagues actually went. I have 2 in Mlolongo, very rich. I will not mention names. Who we were with in the street. Right now they have apartments in Mlolongo. And I know where they got their funds, because they were accepted into the cult. But personally, I was stopped at the reception. But later on, when I look at myself today, I know why. I know the one who stopped. It was not even about them. The Lord gave me the spirit of denial. And I was denied so that He can have me today for His mission. The Lord wanted me to be on this other side, not the other side. My army was the army of Jesus. But there were so many other things I could imagine. Maybe it's because Personally, I was very dirty. The other guys were a bit presentable. And I came to discover one principle. Once the devil has used you, it's like chewing a sugar cane. Once you chew all the juice, you throw away the covers. That's exactly what happened. The devil had chewed everything from me to a point of now my family, my mother, they had now washed their hands. That is the aim of the devil. At any point in this world, the devil's aim is to bring you to a point of nakedness before the world, where people will run away from you. And once you reach there, the devil has no business with you, because he knows you have little choice. You can either commit suicide or you will be killed by people. So I went back to the streets angry, why the devil denied me, why I was not accepted. I went to Mlolongo flyover at the end of the Nairobi expressway, that flyover, wanting to jump from that place many times. But I reach there, I look at a vehicle which is coming very fast. I want to jump, but I find myself back in the streets. Now in the streets, I'm growing lonely when I find everything I'm trying is failing. I tried Mjengo. I tried the water business. I tried the mugging at night. Again, I realized this job is not really, when something is not in you, even if you do it how, it is still not in you. So what happened is that I got a promotion. I met guys who told me, now, because you are a guy who can be able to move around, you can drive. Come and be our driver as we go to our businesses. These are guys who are carrying guns and they were doing motor vehicle theft. The first day I'm going on this mission is the same day these guys are going to be killed in Ngara. 4 guys, they were shot. We parked the car and they left. They told me, you remain there. And I say, let me step out and go to this kiosk and buy a cigar, because I never stayed without smoking. And when I just purchased the cigar, I was now putting it on, gunshots. People were rushing to see what's happening. I also rushed. When we went there, I saw 2 of my guys lying down. I turned. I never went to that car. I walked from town to Cabanas. That's where I was able to get courage to board a matatu to Mlolongo. I walked without looking back. Whenever I could hear an ambulance, I would get shaken because I think they are coming for me. Whenever a police car would pass, I would think they are coming for me. I went back just telling God, allow me to continue stealing chicken. These big things, I don't want them. Let me go back with carrying waters. I'm tired with this. This one is not mine. I went back and I continued with my business, sleeping outside. If I get your phone is not well placed, I go with it. If I meet you at night and you are looking like you are, it's bad hours, I would mug you. Anything. I sold drugs. I became a broker of so many, any business on the streets. I sold water. In Mlolongo, I was carrying water, and in Jugu. But we are doing this one with the aim of looking for anyone who has placed his phone vibaya. Genuine business, but with a bad intent. And we got money. This money, we all poured it. There's a night I had 67,000 from mugging. But I failed to think of getting a room of even 3,000 per month. I failed. I squandered this money in the clubs. I took a room in the club where I would just drink and go and sleep. Because do you know why? Even the Bible says that a dog will return to its vomit. We had gotten so comfortable in the life of sin that even when we could see an opportunity of changing our lives, we never wanted. We only wanted this life. That's what drugs do. It makes you appreciate the life you're living. Even though you know very well it's not good, you just accept it. So in the streets, I was caught severally. In some instances, I had been beaten here and there. But I remember one afternoon, after I had become so prominent in Mlolongo with selling drugs and damaging people's items, I became a marked face. Women, whenever I could pass, they would hide their purse. Do you, he's there. They would even alert others. Huyo akipita, be careful. Imagine, this is a graduate, a man whose parents have sacrificed everything. They have taken loans. They were paying loans up to that point. I'm living like that. I'm in the streets doing those things. My mother was terribly sick to a point of almost dying because of this crime. My father was into drugs deep. My family literally was broken. My brothers were sad by the fact that I was the way I am. They had so much hope in me. Many people, cousins and all. Remember, when I got to the university, the whole family celebrated. Now, the whole family is crying. But some people were happy in the family. There were some of my aunts, uncles who were celebrating about all this. And my life was now going down. It was going down. So I was caught. I was beaten in the streets in Mlolongo. It was at around noontime. The sun was very hot. And these guys brought 5 liters of petrol. I remember because the bucket was just dropped beside my head. And the way it was poured from the head going downwards, even in my private parts, I could feel I'm wet. And the petrol was smelling very bad. And I knew the day has come. I remember mentioning the word, God, forgive me. I just said it ignorantly. I never knew that the Lord would forgive me. And the guys were shouting, they had beaten me. I'm bleeding. Half unconscious. And I would hear them say, Leta Kiberiti, bring the matchbox. Bring the matchbox. Jemo, bring the matchbox. Do you know, a matchbox could not be found. Yet there were shops. The people who were beating me were guys who were smokers. Mulolongo is a place whereby after every 2 doors, there's a club. But for 1 minute, I call it divine delay. I have a sermon entitled Divine Delay. The Lord just delayed the process of me getting banned for 1 minute, only for the policeman to pass by. And he shot in the air. And that is how I was saved. The guy took me to the police. They processed me. They found me with issues and mistakes. Taken before the judge. I was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison. I served the prison sentence. And I came out. But all that is because of drugs. Now I'm going to prison. Prison is another world. And I have been hearing things about prison. So I was like imagining what is going to happen to me. That evening I was thrown in prison. I was given a blanket which was half and it was torn, full of lies. Clothes. You pick a cloth, prison cloth, and you could see those lies falling down. And I put on, the askari told me, remove everything. And I put on. The moment the lies started eating me, I tried to squeeze one. The police hit me with a rungu. Why are you killing the property of the government? We will increase your sentence. I never knew that lies is a property of the government. It was an agency through which the prison institution punishes the inmates to come to their senses. That's when I knew I am in a wrong place. I went to the dormitories, they call them wards, and the place I was given to sleep, it was a veranda, no mattress, cold veranda. That's where I slept for that night. I had no problem sleeping in the veranda because I was sleeping outside. But I had a problem putting my head on a flat surface. In the streets, I would put my head on a stone. So I had a problem of balancing my body. And beside me, there was a big book. I looked left, right, and center, and I asked someone there, whose book is this? They told me it belongs to no one. I took it. That night, it became my pillow. So this book, I guarded it jealously. Not because I wanted to read, because it was my pillow. But during the day, I looked at the front cover. It was written, The Great Controversy. And because of much boredom in prison, I started reading. I was a good reader. I'm an intelligent man. I love reading. It's what I was made to be. So I started reading. It was much of Bible things, history of the church. But I chewed it. I was not a church person. But I discovered this one can give me some, it will pass time, because I was looking at 3 years point. Hey, 12 months. The reality of 365 days came to me. Out here you are asked, how many days are there in a year? 365. Okay, you get to now deal with 365 in prison. That's when you will know 365 is long. In prison, I remember it was not a good life. Men who have stayed in prison for many years, they would come and seduce you. They ask you to become their girlfriend. I've never been seduced by a man. But this is the time I'm being seduced by an inmate. And I couldn't believe it. Someone is telling me, you look beautiful. What? I look beautiful. I almost got mad. I wanted to fight with this guy. But the other prisoners stopped me. They told me, if you fight, you will be broken by the officers and you will go to the cell. Within the prison, there is a cell where they pour water down. You stay there and the food ratio is reduced. Already the food ratio in prison is small. So when it's reduced, then you are in big trouble. And you sleep in water, you are in danger of pneumonia. And definitely many people have died in that kind of cell. Or they have come out, but they have spent the rest of their prison being sick throughout because of the problem of pneumonia. So I stopped. But these guys knew Dennis is a tough guy. So I started being cautious in prison that this place is not only a place where there are police officers, but you can also be raped. So when I was reading that book, I'm getting enlightened, and then I'm here. I don't have slippers. I don't have water. I don't have soap. I don't have toothbrush. Though I never used these things in the outside there, but now I don't have tissue. And in prison, you can't wear your pants. Because when you wear the pants, something which is holding you tight, it's also keeping the lice there. So we used to stay without pants. I don't have clothes to change. When you are dirty in prison, lice is your friend. So I suffered for the first 2 months, wondering who will come and save me. And one day, one friend just invited me. I never knew him, but I came to discover he was a man who had spent in prison already 9 years. But he was also saved. He was a Christian. Because beside him in the bed, in the way he was sleeping, not bed, but the beddings, there was a Bible, there were some spiritual books. And the guy, the reason why he called me is when he saw me reading this book a lot. So he thought I am somehow a Christian. And when I went to him, I told him I am a Catholic. And he told me I am a Seventh-day Adventist. So he invited me. I told him I am a Catholic, but I will try to come. So he gave me water, he gave me soap, he gave me slippers, and he gave me clothes to change. You know, being 9 years in prison, he had gotten ways of living in prison. So he had some property. And I felt loved, accepted. For the first time of all these years in the streets and in darkness of drugs, I found a stranger who loved me. And I thought this one can be a trick. I thought he's trying to use this one to seduce me again. Because in prison, some people can be too good to you to a point whereby they can even give you food, nice food. You know, there are people with money. They have their food being fried with kitungu, onion, while the rest of the people, there's no onion. And they can give you food which is laced with some drugs so that you can sleep. And it has happened. People eat, they sleep, they are raped until their rectum comes out. So I was approaching him. Yes, I'm appreciating, but I'm very keen because I was too careful for my life. But later on, I discovered he's a good person. And I started going to the Seventh-day Adventist Church once, twice. I am going on Sabbath here, on Sunday here. But later on, I started reducing Sunday. I started going to the Sabbath because, you know, they put me in the Bible study class. In the Bible study class, they were teaching me the Word of God. In prison, we have drugs. I was smoking marijuana in the morning, cigarette with other inmates, but going to church. Later on, after some few months, I accepted baptism. But that morning, before I accepted baptism, I had smoked marijuana. And when I stood up for baptism, they laughed at me. They teased me. Sit down, they know. You are wasting our time, Bana. But the pastor was keeping saying, come, 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 come. And I started stepping forward. I took the first step, the second step, the third step. And I normally tell people, we need to have this faith. Even when you are not worthy, our master is ready to welcome you. Especially when you are not worthy. That is when the master is just waiting. And I never knew that the master was with me, even from the street, protecting me against the gunshots, against being burned, and being killed by any other means. He has been there. And this time, he has allowed me to get baptized. And I got baptized. And for once, I stopped drugs. Without compulsion, without razor blades, without someone sitting on me, without having blood spilled on my face, nothing, without paying. No rehab, without paying. I just stopped, like as in I stopped going back there. God came at the right time, and he had set me in a way that by the time I am stopping, there's something that is bringing in place. One thing I've discovered with addictions out here is that we so much wish our children, our partners, our family members to quit, yet we don't have a replacement for that. God made sure there is a replacement. He left me to smoke, to eat miraa in prison, even to go to the pulpit to accept baptism when I was not fully conversant with the scripture. He allowed me, but he had prepared something on the other end. And that something was the Bible, was the church, was the friends. New life, new beginning, a new light. And I want to tell you, every time I used to read the Bible, I would feel peace. I started seeing my 3 years to be something very small. Very small. In fact, I started encouraging inmates, preaching, counseling, mentoring them. It was at this point that the prison institution discovered my gift in IT things. And they even made me become one of the tutors in their IT schools. I was now doing work for the officer in charge. But all this is after I accepted Christ. It's after. I want you to listen to me very well. My story is a story of two sides. One serving the devil, one serving Jesus. And I can testify again and again, when you are on the side of the devil, you will never be happy. You will never be contented. But when you are with Jesus, there's a way Jesus brings calmness, peace, comfort into your life, and you will have a sense of purpose in your life. And that is what is lacking in most of the people. Once you don't have a sense of purpose, you cannot enjoy life. Even if you are making millions, you will still live in an empty kind of world. So let's look for that purpose. And it's in Jesus Christ himself. So I continued becoming a role model in prison. I was promoted in prison. Now good things started coming. People accepted me. Opportunities opened up. And the prisoners loved me. In fact, it reached a point whereby they were even asking officers, now that we are inside, ask Dennis to come and speak to us in this ward. So the officer said, we have one person here who is learned, who is very good. He can be going around these wards talking to them. I was given a diet. My diet was changed. Milk every day, a packet was added to my diet. That's a very big achievement in prison. It was not a joke. Having a packet of milk each day. My beans would be at least laced with some good cooking oil and salt. It was not like the ordinary inmates now. And I started seeing the hand of God. But in prison, also something happened. So many inmates lost their lives. It's not that I was special. We had so many inmates who were living calm lives, but they died because of TB. Some died because of being beaten and broken of their body parts by other inmates, fighting over certain market because of selling drugs. And others just died because of HIV, because of those homosexuality, which is so rampant in prison. But when I looked at myself and I found out I am in one piece, I have no bruise from prison, all my body organs are intact, I have never fought, I have never been beaten, I really thank God and say, God was kind to me. And when he gave me this vision to go and preach, because one night I received a vision, I'm sending you, go among the young people, tell them to get out of drugs, get out of Babylon. And that's how I knew I am starting off another career. My mind, there was no remission. You know, in prison, there is what we call remission. But because my case was straightforward, evidence, exhibits, I said I will not waste time with the court. I just spent time with the court for a month. I later told them I accept, because it was the truth and everything was there. I said, why am I fighting? So when they find you guilty, when you accept by yourself, your sentence becomes like the way it is. But when you fight, oh no, it's not me, I'm not guilty, until they prove you guilty, that's when now your sentence will have some remission of a third. They will remove a third of your sentence. But mine was just, they call it chuma. Ilikuwa chuma. Ilichapa chuma, but it was good for me. I normally equate my prison sentence to a time when Paul went to Arabia for 3 years. What was he doing in Arabia? Immediately, Paul was converted. He tried to preach. People warned him. He disappeared for how many years? 3. 3 years he was under the school of God. All my prison life, actually what I got in prison, apart from these other stories, I was under the school of God. The simple Bible studies. These things we call people, let's have Bible studies in our homes. Teach your children to read the Bible. People take it for granted. That is what I did. I never used magic. I never used any kind of drugs. I just stopped. man who was addicted for all those years just stopped. And right now it is like around 16 years and I am doing very well. I have never had any urge to drink. I've never had any urge to even say that I feel like smoking. When Jesus takes it, he takes it on. When Jesus brings it to an end, it is really an end. There's no looking back. There's no fearing. That's why when I'm sharing my testimony, I don't fear what human beings can do to me, because I know I have tasted the power of Jesus. And I know if you are going to use my testimony maybe to do something to me, I know my Jesus still stands and he has a mission for me. So I tell people not to fear when you know whom you serve, and that is Jesus Christ. You will not be surprised that even today there are some people in my family who still don't believe that Dennis is transformed, who still feel like Dennis will go back to the same life. And because of that, the way we deal with each other is affected. How I wish they knew that once Jesus has transformed someone, then there's nothing human beings can do. It's true. When I was approaching my release from prison, those questions came. Where am I going? I did not have a saving. I did not have a house where I'm coming. I used to live in the city. Now I don't have a place to begin my life. It was difficult. Very difficult. But I want to thank God because of the system, support system I was given by the prison and the church, the Seventh-day Adventist Church. The Seventh-day Adventist Church, which discovered us in prison, who supported us all throughout these years I was in prison. They did not just support us and leave us there. They would bring us all that we need, basic items. They would still preach to us spiritually. They would bring counselors. They would bring advocates to help us mitigate our cases. And they even continued to come and ask us about how is our relationship with our home. Now, when I went to prison, my relationship with my family was broken down. Nothing was there. So we had to begin there. I told them, I think I need to be helped. It came from me. I need to be reconciled to my family. The chaplain who was there in the prison, who was known as Chaplain Koyo, was very swift, very supportive. He acted immediately. He organized how our parents would come. And my parents came, the whole family came to prison before my release. Few months to my release. We sat down. We were given a special room. It was called special visitation. We sat down. The moment I saw them, tears started rolling down my eyes. Because I had came to a realization that I am a failure. I used to blame them. You know, when you become a rebel, you end up blaming other people for nothing. So I used to blame them for nothing. I was ready to kill them in case of the story of Illuminati. But now here they are. I looked at my mom, how she was. Her health was deteriorated. I looked at my dad, retired, and I knew how he struggled. Tears rolled down. I just felt down and asked for forgiveness. Before anything, I just told them, mimi ninaomba msamaha. Munisamee, sitaki kuwaomba pesa, I just need your. And my mother started crying. What happened at the end of it all? They forgave every one of them. My elder brother said, I forgive you, 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 and we accept you. I said, thank you, God. Number one, success. which was the most. When I discovered my family has accepted me back, I felt even the rest is easier. Now we came to the issue of where am I going? And that day I told my family, I'm going to serve God. I'm going to the seminary. My mother said, mtoto wetu, hatuna maneno na wewe. Whatever you want to do, you do it. As long as you will be a different Dennis, we have no problem. My brother had came with a letter from KRA for me to be employed. He had played his games out here. I picked it, I kept it. Told him I will answer you when I get released. He never knew I had a letter of admission to the seminary. And I never told them. I just told them, me, I want to serve the Lord. I never wanted to show them because in my heart, I never knew where I will get money. So it was a dream which was not yet realized. I never knew what is coming. But again, God told me, talk to the church. Tell them your problem. I shared with them. Whenever I called the church, they would come very fast. I remember people like Major Makori, we had Pastor Muraya. These are people who used to come very fast. And they would listen to me. I would tell them, this is what I'm having this problem. There was another sister from Nairobi, known as Sister Asana. She's now a shepherdess. There was another guy who is known as Elder Job Kishaba, who is the station director of chaplaincy in Nairobi station. These are people who came to me swiftly, using their own money resources. I really want to thank them. They would come and sit with me, and I told them, this is what I am having in my heart. They even told me, young man, you have a degree. Go back. Go to work. I told them, yes, I have a letter here. But I told them, this is not, I'm not sure whether I will remain in this job after my first salary. That's what I told them. I'm not sure. Because that thing, when I remember it, it is so bad. So they listened to me. We prayed over it. And I kept fasting and praying in prison. And they came back with a positive answer. We have decided we will sponsor you. I could not believe what I had. I told them, thank you. God bless you. How will it be? I told them I don't have a house. And I don't think whether going to my parents' place is advisable. Right now I'm old. I'm feeling ashamed, guilty. They told me, don't worry about it. So they organized on the day of my release. They did what we call reintegration. They came up to the prison. In fact, I went to prison as a slave, but I left prison as a king. Because 4 vehicles came for me in prison. I came out of prison with a Prado. A bag full of clothes. I came and I was given a room with light, with hot shower. And they prepared for my reintegration even back to the church in Kisii Central Church, Seventh-day Adventist, where they had organized my parents from home, our aunties, my grandmother, my immediate family to meet, where now they were going to hand me over to the local church and to my family. We left in Nairobi and Entourage, Kenya Prison Service. They gave a whole bus, this bus you see passing around. They gave it for free. Why? They said if it's Dennis, that's a role model. The gift to Napeana bus, courtesy of Madam Rose of Nkoroi SDA Church. She was then working with Kenya Prison Service. And many people from the church, I remember, from the Union, CKC, by then it was CKC, Central Kenya Conference, they all accompanied this journey. I was taken home as a king. You don't want to believe. That's what the Lord can do. Today you are treated and taken as a slave, a thief, drunkard. Tomorrow you are an honorable person. Why? The work of Jesus is to restore our position in the society. We were created to be people of honor. And that's what he did. So when I reached Kisii Central, his service was put aside for me. And everything was all about me. But now this church is a church where people don't know me. And there was some kind of tensions here and there. But later on, things were done. The plan was I be received that one to be my local church. But it seems like things became tight. Later on, I was received with my family. We went home that evening, but later on I had to come back to Nairobi. And I had to get a membership here in Nairobi. My membership started in Kitengela when I was in prison, and then now it was to be transferred now from prison to home. But these people there was that resistance. Society never forgives. I felt bad, but I took it as a man. I had read the Bible where even Jesus says, in this world you will be resisted. So I said, it's okay, no problem. But immediately they resisted. A solution was reached within the table. Come back to Nairobi. We even now do things from Nairobi. And that's how I came back, and plans for raising money for my fees. And I went to school. I never skipped any semester. I never was chased out of class. The Lord provided. He used the church mightily to pay all my school fees. I went in for theology, but later on I added chaplaincy. So I came out with 2 degrees, chaplaincy and theology. You can see what God did. I was so eager. God is just waiting for people who are eager to walk after him. But many people are like, why do you leave KRA job and you go to seminary? Are you mad? Again, my family was furious. It's like this man is not yet reformed. Prison imemwaribu. But I knew what I was doing. The voice that was calling me was louder than their voices. And this time I did not make a mistake. And I thank God for that. So I went straight, and the Lord has been with me. And he has counted me faithful, giving me a ministry, serving him. Today I'm respected. Today people call, thousands of them, asking for a prayer, assistance, for a counsel. Today churches are scrambling to have you in their camp meetings. Today sometimes I'm defeated on how to divide, how to serve people, because a lot is on my table, and I have to choose family, I have to choose my work, I have to choose serving people. So I'm even asking God to create a way of reaching out to these people. You see, because it's now becoming overwhelming. It's overwhelming. And I can see the reason why God wanted me in this ministry. I might not be adequate enough, but at least the ministry will move. And if we get many other people who have gone through these crucibles, coming to serve the Lord. What I tell people nowadays, if you know you have been through a difficult experience, it's your high time now to serve the Lord. He will turn the pain to becoming something meaningful. When I look back, to me, prison was a place of transformation. To someone else, prison is a very bad place. If you cannot come to Jesus' side, you might not see your crucible in that particular angle. Because the world would want to torture you again and again and again and again. Even right now as a pastor, there are people, they know anajifanya. It's okay. I don't argue with them. I know where I come from. I know where I'm going. I know what the Lord has done to me. And today, I am preaching not because I was born a preacher. Today, I'm a counselor, not because I was born a counselor. I am so because of the scars that I went through or I got. The scars have made me become experienced to share, to have something to tell people. You can't give if you don't have it. The Lord has given me through the crucible, through the pain. Otherwise, without that one, I would just be maybe an ordinary person out here. This ministry, this is a special call. It is something that God designed and it belongs to God. That's why everything I do in this ministry, I know it's not mine. This is God. I never, in fact, in Form 1, the school I went, we were given the first term, the first week, we were given 3 subjects to choose only one. History, CRE, and drawing and design. I dropped CRE and history. I picked drawing and design. You can imagine where my head with God was. So it was nowhere near my place. In fact, I used to look at pastors and, in fact, I never knew even pastors. Me, I knew fathers. So I never thought of even becoming a father. Never. I just wanted to become an accountant, engineer, these things that the world loves. So here I am. That's why I normally say, this is not my ministry. This is God's ministry. God has hijacked me and he must use me the way he wants. The devil has blinded people. You know, it is so painful to see a person who saw you going down because of drugs, continuing using drugs, even after seeing the transformation. I fail to know what to tell these people. That's my burden. Someone who saw you, someone whom you can tell exactly what they should expect if they continue in this journey, only for them to take it for granted and to continue in their path of destruction. People must understand that sin kills. And before it kills a person, sin will destroy your family. Sin of any kind, drugs, corruption, women, name them. It will destroy your family. It will destroy your job. It will destroy your work. It will destroy your health. And eventually it will steal your life. That's why John 10:10, it says the devil comes to steal, to destroy, and to kill. Those 3 things, they don't happen at once. They have stages. The devil will come first and steal. Come and steal your career. Like what happened to me. He stole. And then he started destroying me using drugs. And then now he was at the point of killing me. But we thank Jesus. But what I can say to these people is that let people acknowledge who they are in their lives. Let them accept they are not able. And they need this kind of help, which is not here on earth. You must look up in heaven and call upon Jesus. There is no genius in controlling drugs. There is no genius in dealing with a lie problem. There is no genius in dealing with corruption. You entertain one sin today, tomorrow you'll do the next day another one. By the time you discover you are submerged in sin, getting out of there, it takes the hand of God. But many, they die. So my burden to the world, to the young people, to people out here, is to see people professing Christ but still entertaining sin. Yet they know exactly what it is. Even when God has taken us through these problems, we stand up to share. You still find people engaging in those practices. It pains me. And that's one of the prayer items I have. That Lord, do not use me in vain. At least allow me, whoever you will bring to me, even one, that our interaction will change the person through your power. I don't want to be like Jonah, who knew exactly, even God, you send me to those people. Those guys are rebellious. They can't hear you. That's why Jonah ran away. No, I don't want to reach them. I just want to be an effective minister whom God can use in whatever group of people, and change will come to them. That they may say, there's God. Indeed, the God who transformed this person has transformed us. Addiction is a deep problem that needs a myriad of strategies to be able to bring it down. It is psychological, it is emotional, it is spiritual. The church can handle spiritual. Who is handling psychological? Who is handling the emotional part? And we believe cases such as addiction, the best way to deal with them, you don't deal with them spiritually first, you deal with them emotionally first. What this guy in prison did to me, he dealt with me emotionally. He was the first one to invite me to his place, to talk to me, and to give me these things to use. He attended to me emotionally, making sure I am comfortable. By the time he's inviting me to go to church, it was the third day, the fourth day. So the church needs to develop strategies to calm down, develop centers of influence for these people. We have so many young people who don't worship with their parents where they worship. Yet they went to these churches for Adventurer and Pathfinder, but right now they have grown up, they are choosing where to go. They have ended up doing their own things. Why? Because there is a gap, and the church belongs to the young people. So the church can spare some resources, build up rehabilitation centers. I can tell the church, we have so many, our young people, many of them in drugs. No one is attending to them adequately. We are just trying. But if there was a center, I'm telling you, it could do much great good than the way we are doing it right now. Number two, our approach to why our young people, churches are very important in creating influence. Why are the young people running away? I think it has come of age, and I want to thank God. I just listened to something from the current sessions which are going on, that the church is planning to bring the digital strategy. Because we are dealing with the digital generation, then all our things should be digital. Because they spend more time on social media, then we need to meet them on social media. And that's how we can be able to influence them and to reach to them and to create an environment where they will feel accepted, and we will move on from there. To parents, not only the church, parents, you need to get involved. Accept your child. If your child is a drunkard, it's not time now to say, I don't want you in my home. You don't want your child to be known that he's a drunkard. Let your child be known the way he is, accept him, and that's how you will deal with her. Don't hide your child behind the walls, saying you don't want people to know in the church that my child is like this and this. No. Drunkardness, this issue of addiction, is a menace. It is a world problem, and unless we accept it, we are not able. One way of fighting it effectively is accepting our children, support them, receive them even when they knock your gates at night drunkard. Open the doors for them. If you don't open, where will they sleep? They will sleep outside. They will be shot. They will end up with bad group. They will become criminals. But when they know, even if I am drunkard, I will take my border to our gate, the gate will be opened, this child will have a chance of changing in future. But when you lock them out, they develop hardness, and they now develop this kind of hate toward the family, and the drinking problem continues, and you will lose this child. Let's accept them. As Proverbs 22:6 says, train your child in the way he should go, and when they grow up, they will not depart from the way. So we have a work to do, parents, and this work begins right at home. What you do, what you speak, what you eat at home is what your child will do. If you live holy at home, your child will live holy. If you drink at home, your child will drink at his home or in future. If you beat your wife in front of your children, they will also beat their wives or their girlfriends. So the training begins at home. And then we go to school. And then we go to the church. These are the 3 schools. But the biggest of the school is the home. This idea of leaving children with the aunties, thinking now everything is set, you are traveling all over, you don't have time, you come at 10 p.m., you sleep, you wake up at 4, you leave the children, they are in the care of the aunties. Who is teaching them values? The auntie is busy, she has a lot of work. The only thing she can do is to shout at them so that she can go to the next task. So we need to do something. One of the greatest achievements I've made is knowing God. Number 2, being responsible. When I see I'm taking care of my family, I remember my parents, my siblings, and I can even go extra mile, that one makes me joyous. And of course, I can't ignore the fact that the milestone I've come, it's a true sign that anything is possible. And in the words of Martin Luther, he says that if it has happened on someone, it can happen on you. So I want to tell you one thing, that if you are out there and you are stuck, I want you to know that it happened to me and it can happen to you. If you're a child or whoever is stuck in addiction, it is still possible, because the Lord says it is possible. He's asking this question, Jeremiah 32:27, is there anything too hard for me? I want to tell you confidently, strongly, there is nothing difficult in the presence of God. Keep hope alive, keep pushing, keep moving. And in the words of Martin Luther, I love this man. He says, if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. Just in whatever you are doing, keep moving. But this time, this keep moving is having faith in Christ Jesus. That's what I can tell you, viewer. And I want to tell you there is victory in Jesus Christ. For those who may need help, I am a counselor. I do mentor sessions with young people who are in various challenges. And you can easily reach me in my contact. I want to say it, 0707 93 27 27. 0707 93 27 27. I am there, available. Just call, we schedule, and I believe the Lord will do something. God bless you.